Hello and welcome. You're watching our special broadcast here on CNN News 18 called Budget Buzz with me, Poonam Burde. Now, over the last few years, we've all heard the term cryptocurrency. Many of us are still at sea, though, about what it exactly is and why there is such a debate over it. Well, to put it simply, cryptocurrency is a virtual digital asset, or VDA as it's known, an alternative form of payment created using encryption algorithms. The use of encryption technologies means that cryptocurrencies functions both as a currency and as a virtual accounting system. Now, Indians have taken to this crypto tide and have heavily invested in it. In fact, India tops a list of 27 countries on crypto ownership, and hence the debate on regulating that particular sector. A decision that has so far not been taken by the central government. Now remember, it was in 2013 that a cryptocurrency exchange was launched in India. It's a decade since then. The first sign of legitimacy for this digital asset came only last year when it was taxed. Now in 2021, the central government announced a bill for a sovereign digital rupee, but no legislation or regulatory framework so far in India. So what are the concerns? What's on the mind of the finance minister, and what can we expect for this particular sector in this budget? Take a look at this report to find out.
In 2022, the central government in its budget decided to tax gains made from trading of cryptocurrencies. Many saw that as a first step towards legitimizing the digital asset. But since then, not much has happened. It's been in a limbo, like many would say. Crypto has been a grey area for India. The government has neither banned it nor legalized it. Crypto ownership in India is almost double the global average. There are 100 million crypto investors in India, with Indians having invested upwards of $10 billion. The clamour is now growing for some regulation or some legality to be brought to it. The finance minister in the past has cautioned against it. The Reserve Bank of India has been firmly against it. Critics believe that the very motive of private cryptocurrency is to bypass the system and does not serve any public good. Based on 100% speculative activity, cryptocurrencies have absolutely no underlying. Recently, RBI governor declared the next financial crisis will come from private cryptocurrencies.
I think the term cryptocurrency, private cryptocurrency, is a fashionable way of describing what is otherwise 100% speculative activity. Countries have been taking different views, but our view is that it should be prohibited, because if it is allowed to grow, that if you try to regulate it and allow it to grow, please mark my words, the next financial crisis will come from private cryptocurrencies.
The crypto bill, despite being listed multiple times in Parliament, hasn't been tabled. The government feels crypto investor numbers in India are exaggerated and that any regulation would need global collaboration. It is India's year of G20 presidency, and many believe this is the window of opportunity to bring in a wider framework of crypto regulation. India will host 40 meetings on the finance track in the span of this 1 year, and India has the unique opportunity to set global benchmark for regulation for crypto assets. So will Budget 2023 introduce a regressive tax regime for cryptocurrencies, or will the industry be left wanting?
That is the status so far. So what is it that the crypto ecosystem expects from the finance minister this time around? Now, the sector struggled a bit in 2022. Trading volumes crashed 90% after the introduction of the VDA tax last year. In the budget, the US FTX crash that we saw in the recent months and fraud allegations have increased uncertainty. So what exactly is it that this sector expects? Perhaps friendlier policies from the finance minister in this budget. Some of the expectations are rationalization of the 30% tax that was levied on the gains made last year. They say rationalize that and you'll have a more friendly approach to the sector. The TDS exemption limit should also be raised to a reasonable limit, is what many in the industry believe. As far as India's digital currency is concerned, there is a need for a professional digital wallet infrastructure companies that need to be brought in place. That's another demand that has come to the fore from the particular sector. Regulated, compliant and licensed firms are needed to boost confidence in this particular sector. That uncertainty will then perhaps go away, they believe. As far as legislation is concerned, frame strong regulations, especially after the FTX crisis, to ensure that morale is still up, that confidence is still present in the people that are investing in this sector. Regulations for centralized bodies dealing with crypto is also something that this sector wants. Whether they'll get it or not, only the finance minister can tell us. But joining me on this broadcast is CEO of Zeppe, Rahul Pagidipati. Kashif Raza, founder of Bitting, joins us on this broadcast. Kiran Mysore Vivekananda, Chief Public Policy Officer of CoinDCX, also with me. But I want to ask my first question to the former Finance Secretary at the central government, Subhash Chandra Garg. Mr. Garg, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Now, you headed the Interministerial Committee on Virtual Currencies back in 2019. That committee had proposed a ban on cryptocurrencies. But since then, a lot has changed. Given that there are investors that have grown manifold in this country, do you think a complete ban is still a good idea?
See, we must separate the crypto as currency, crypto as an asset, and crypto as a platform to do businesses. That bill, which was prepared in 2019, was dealing with crypto as currencies. But what you see today and for in last 3-4 years is basically crypto as an asset, not as a currency. So let me deal with that, which is more sort of in popular demand, how to deal with the crypto as an asset. And for that, I think we must remember that the crypto as an asset is a very amorphous, very difficult, very new kind of asset where you don't know what its valuation is, what its true value can be. And therefore, it's a very difficult asset class to try to sort of create an ecosystem for trading it, try to create an ecosystem of valuing it. And therefore, there was no bill for crypto as an asset class in that 2019. And there is no bill even after that. And much of the confusion which prevails between crypto as a currency and crypto as an asset class is where the problem lies. So I don't see any likelihood of any of the government doing anything on crypto as an asset class to be either put through a regulatory regime in terms of regulated exchanges or the valuations method, or in terms of how to keep the cryptocurrencies in terms of depositories, wallets, and other kinds of things. So that doesn't seem to be on the horizon at all. So since it was taxed last time, without being put together through as a good regulatory system, that is where the failure resulted. Because you came up with a very sort of harsh taxation regime, which put these people, whoever were trading, into a lot of tizzy, and therefore and it also coincided with the global collapse in the cryptocurrencies as an asset class, and that's what you see today. So I don't think today even the market has any clear idea about what kind of regulation they want on the crypto as an asset, and nothing seems to be ready and required to be done. So I don't expect anything to happen on this front in the budget.
Sure. So this perhaps is also going to be a disappointing one, Mr. Vivekananda, as far as the crypto sector is concerned. That is what many experts, including the former finance secretary, also believes. But of course, the expectations are high, as in every sector. The expectations are always there from the finance minister, especially because of the taxation that came to the fore last year. It was seen as the first step towards a recognition, so to say, for this particular market. But since then, all we've seen is perhaps deterrence on the part of the government to actually do something about it. In that situation, what do you think is the way forward, and how this budget or the finance minister could address it?
I would say that let me answer it in two parts. First is, why was this TDS or tax introduced? Actually, the purpose, the government felt that this industry is growing and they still require a lot of awareness to understand, to regulate this industry. Hence, they wanted to discourage investors, hence the higher tax. And at the same time, they also wanted to track this investment. But what has happened in last 1 year is the adoption of crypto as an asset in India has grown, at least in the last quarter, in 3 months, it has grown at 16% month on month as an adoption, as an asset. However, the investors have stopped investing in Indian exchanges because they do not want to pay this TDS of 1%, and they have moved it to the foreign exchanges. So the industry estimates, and there is a report which has been published recently, which estimates around 80,000 crores of Indian rupees has been invested in crypto through foreign exchanges in last 3 to 6 months. So what this has happened is the level playing field which was existing before introduction of TDS between an Indian exchange which follows all KYC norms and which continues to comply with the rule of the nation has been in disadvantage, and there is no level playing field, and the investment continues. So the very purpose of introducing TDS has been defeated in two terms. One is they are unable to track because the transactions are now happening outside India through foreign exchanges. So tracking is it's defeated the tracking purpose, and also discouragement is something which India or the government believed that they can safeguard Indian users from this speculation, which has clearly not happened because India is already ready to consider crypto as an asset class. And we can see when recently there is a report which says that the adoption rate of India, especially with the FTX issues which happened, Indians lost India was the fourth country, and the citizens of India lost almost I don't know the number, but Indians were also impacted because they went to foreign exchanges because there was no domestic market available which is competitive. So this is about the TDS part. What we have done is we have in the last 3 to 6 months, Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs has been very proactive in having conversation with the industry. Industry has come up with the industry association called Bharat Web3 Association. We have been invited for the budget discussion, and what we have recommended is that TDS needs to be reduced to 0.01%. We understand that you want to track it and trace it. Indian exchanges are willing to comply with that. We are right now willing to comply. We are complying it.
Sure.
So this is what we have said, and we have also said instead of charging that higher rate of 30% of income tax, we should look at taxing crypto asset as STT tax.
Sure. Sure. So there's some changes that need to be made as far as boosting that confidence is concerned. Also keeping up that confidence perhaps is concerned. And so far the Indian government has taken a wait and watch approach, so to say. Rahul Pagdipati, I'd like to get you in on that because we are seeing how the investors, as far as the crypto world is concerned in India, has grown manifold in the last few months, in the last 1 year or so. Do you think then the Indian government can continue to keep having this wait and watch strategy as far as regulation is concerned, or do you think they really have to now bite the bullet?
Yeah. So what's happened, and I'm actually a lawyer, so the U.S. I'm a U.S. certified attorney, and what I've noticed, but I've lived and worked in India for quite a bit. What I've noticed, what India often does is it does wait and watch, especially with newer technologies. And then it kind of sees what do other G20 nations do? What do other, let's say, even emerging economies do? And then kind of says, listen, based upon this, how does it fit our own, let's say, culture and national priorities? And as you know, there's some forward-looking nations that are really, really pro-crypto. Let's say call it El Salvador, which is legalized Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin legal tender there. And there's other countries like China, which have almost, let's say, made it very, very hard, and not illegal per se, but very, very difficult.